Hi guys, we're back. Monday Night Mythbusters is back in action. Welcome. We're so glad to see you. I am Dr. Carolyn George from Vita Integrative Medicine and Leslie Harrington,
Hey guys.
Transformational Coach.
Happy June.
Happy June, yes, exactly. So tonight we wanted to talk about what to do, how you can get ready for the summer. And, everybody's got a little bit of weight loss generally on their mind, but it really is so much more than the weight loss. It's really getting into that good frame of mind and trying to create new patterns so that you don't drop all the good stuff that you've been doing, right?
Exactly.
We don't want to let that just drop off just because it's summer. The kids are no longer in school. You don't seem to have as much time as you do when they're in school, or whatever changes are going on in your world. So summertime often brings a change in pattern and habit, and that's good.
Yes.
Actually, it's a nice thing. It's a good thing. But we want to make sure that we make the best of it, okay?
Yes, and summertime is one of those things. Hey Sal, hey Marianne. One of those things like any other life event, right? As the year, stuff happens all the time. Well, summertime's kind of one of those things when things tend to shift. Some people, not so much. They might be able to keep kind of that steady rhythm. But when you're outside, you're doing outdoor activities, you might be more body conscious. You might want to be out there in the sunshine and whatnot. But there's things that are important to kind of keep you on track and even help you kind of shed some of those unwanted pounds initially, and then of course keeping it up, and then just some little tricks that you could be using any time of year.
Right. And also if you follow, I think it was Dr. Perlmutter, so he is a very well-known functional neurologist, and he's talking about the summer brain. So not worried so much about the summer body, but the summer brain, and what are you going to do to really improve the way that your brain functions and keep that young, because that's going to really matter in the long run more than those 5 or 10 pounds.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's good. So hey there, Cheryl.
Hi, Cheryl. First off, I don't know, we can start, you want to start right off. We have a little list of things we want to make sure we capture, but right off the bat, if you wanted to do something that would kind of get you going and set up for summer, would be maybe a detox. So there's different types of detox. Intermittent fasting is another thing you can add in, but going with detox, if we kind of stick with that, anybody can use a detox at any given time. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions around detox being like this starvation and no food and it's all liquid, or it's shakes only, and eating clean foods and eliminating some of the things that you're just seeing constantly. Those are things that those are detoxifying alone, because then you're eating foods that are detox, just the stuff that you're putting in your body.
Right. So
So it's not something that you're not eating regular food. There's plenty of detox that include a nice, healthy, substantial diet.
yes, and so generally for me, a detox is still going to be eating 2 or 3 meals a day. You can sometimes exchange one meal for a shake, but you don't have to. Some people really don't like shakes and want to eat their real food. But what you're trying to do is take out the gluten, take out the dairy, take out the sugar, take out the alcohol, and take out the caffeine for a couple weeks. Now you can do it for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You can decide how long you want to do it, but the minimum you'd want to do it would be really 1 week to see any kind of change. And so when you do that and you eat mostly vegetables, so that more than half your plate is the veggies, not with a lot of sauces and stuff, just good old veggies, and then a quarter or a little bit more your plate will be protein, and that can be plant or animal protein, and then a quarter or less will be your simple carbs, your rice, your pasta, the starches.
Yep.
So when you're doing that and you're eating just 3 meals a day, you are not eating till you're stuffed. You're eating till you're just comfortable and no longer hungry. And then you don't snack in between. And then you do good activities. So you're not being a couch potato. You're not sitting on the couch all day long. But when you're doing those things, then you're giving your body what it needs for your liver to really work its maximal to detoxify all the normal molecules, chemicals of metabolism. Yeah. And that can really make you feel much better, much brighter. And you would sometimes be amazed at actually how many calories that we can get in there as with the sugar and the alcohol.
Yeah. Even just drinks.
Just regular drinks,
sugary
right?
drinks.
Wine, beer, any of these drinks are going to have a lot of sugar. And the alcohol itself becomes sugar, so it adds to it. So you can drink hundreds of calories in one day easily by just sitting by the pool and, you know, drinking pina coladas or little sangrias or whatever your choice is, right?
And the key is doing a detox with some guidance from a practitioner or from somebody, because there are other components, phase 2 that actually helps to escort some of the toxins out of your body.
Mm-hmm.
So the fiber component and the amino acid component, which you can be getting through some of the foods we're talking about,
Yes.
especially, and then of course the easier to digest vegetables are going to free up some of that energy from your digestive tract to do some of the other work that your body's probably in desperate need of. Like all of us could use this at least, you know, twice a year.
Yeah, I would even say quarterly, do it every
Yeah.
season. And hey there, Michelle, and hi, Christy. Glad that you could join us. So a detox just around the beginning of summertime is a great way to kind of jump into summer. Your skin's going to glow more. You're going to just feel fresher, more energetic. A lot of times people will use caffeine, as a kind of energy boost, and they won't realize just what a sleep deficit that they're getting. And so when they stop the caffeine, they go, oh wow, I guess I should be sleeping more because I don't feel so good with 5 hours of sleep a day. I wonder why, right?
And caffeine has a shelf life, guys, so you want to be cutting that off after 2 o'clock or before 2 o'clock p.m. because at 8 o'clock you're still feeling the effects of that caffeine.
And if you're doing the detox, you have none. You don't have any at all.
And Cindy.
And Cindy and Linda, so guys, welcome. And so if anybody that's watching has any great advice, things that you've used in the past,
I saw somebody float by that said they were in the process of their detox, so they were on like day 6 or something. So let us know how you're feeling on that, because you do go through some different, you know.
Yeah, initially the first day or two you might not feel so hot, but then you start to feel much more energetic, clear, vital. Yeah.
So moving on to more of the activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So exercise in the summertime, any other time. If you're feeling like you've been doing something, the same thing for a while, and you're really not getting much of a feeling of change, it's time to change it up.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, good change. And season change is always a good time to change your activity. If you're doing one thing all the time, then maybe you're a big cardio person, you're running all the time, now it's a little hot anyways. Maybe you switch to something more indoor, maybe you switch to swimming, maybe you do more of the weights. But you give your body a change so that it's not used to always doing the exact same thing. So it can be kind of wake you up mentally as well as physically.
Yes, and definitely not just the idea of actually physically changing, because a lot of you are maybe doing some cross training as it is, but when you're lifting weights, changing the tempo of your weights, doing hypertrophy, I can't say the word.
Hypertrophy?
Yeah, that. So when you're in that movement, it's the amount of time that the muscle is strained. So you want to be able to hold that strain for a longer period of time. So if you're doing like a 1 count on the up and a 3 count on the down, you're keeping that muscle engaged for more time than if you're just doing regular reps. So changing the tempo actually can make a pretty impactful difference. Yeah. So if you're one of those people that are like, I work out all the time, I don't ever get sore, you might try something a little different. Right.
And if you're one that's just like doing it like this, your biceps, you're just going up and down, you're using a lot of momentum, not your muscle. So if you slow that down, changing your momentum, and then you're really having much more resistance.
Yeah, and at the top, if you're contracting, you want to stay contracted. You don't want to release that contraction while you get up here. A lot of people take their curls and
all the way up. Yeah,
so when you're in there, I like in Pilates, I teach people to like kind of feel the pause. So take that pause, feel the hard part before you release it. Some people kind of roll right past the actual intensity. Right. So changing that up, and then high intensity training. So I think that's pretty common now. Most people know what that means, and having the little intervals and making sure you're doing a fast pace, slow pace, and you're alternating.
Right. But let's spend a minute kind of describing that, just in case somebody hasn't heard of high intensity interval training, HIIT.
Yeah. So HIIT, HIIT, is high intensity interval training. And what that can be, it can be with any type of exercise. So it can be with running, it can be with biking, it could be with an elliptical machine, it can be with
do it with weights
laps,
too. But
with weights, ropes, burpees. There's physical weight, body weight type exercises that you can get that effect from. But really just putting out an all-out effort in a small dose, and then giving yourself an ample recovery time, and then alternating that. So a shorter duration of a full complete workout. So if you only have 20 minutes to work out, and you did a HIIT workout versus 20 minutes of steady state cardio on a treadmill or elliptical or something like that, you're going to get more profound benefits, not just from a calorie burning standpoint, but from a metabolic standpoint and from a health standpoint.
Yeah.
So insulin resistance, heart benefits, there's all kinds of tons and tons of research
on
that's
that,
supporting
yes.
high intensity interval training.
And so just to kind of the actual how do you do it, if you're just going for a walk, so say you want to do a walk, so you walk 5 minutes to warm up, you go 30 seconds super fast, you don't have to run, but walking as fast as you can, you're really short of breath, you're like giving it all as fast as you can possibly walk, time it, okay, and then 30 seconds is done, boom, you're back down to a walk, you recover for another 5 minutes, then do another 30 seconds, or as you get into it, then you can do it even up to 60 seconds. But generally, you're never doing it over 60 seconds because you want it to be so hard that you couldn't possibly do it more than that 60 seconds.
You would have to walk and catch your breath. So you want that intensity to be that powerful within that small period.
Yeah.
And then you just alternate back and forth, and it goes by really fast.
Yes.
And you don't need the duration that you would need in a regular steady state. So a steady state can also have has its benefits in some ways, but it can also have an impact to your body, and it can be more like chronic cardio that can be impactful for hormones and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's
a place for both.
Yeah, so the high intensity interval training is something that you can find kind of throughout your day too, which on top of that we can, even though the habit stacking wouldn't necessarily be high intensity, habit stacking.
Yes, this is a good topic.
Yeah, and this can be used with exercise, but it can be used with other things too. So we were talking about the brain activity, right? There's things that you could be doing while you're challenging your brain. But in exercise, habit stacking would be basically something that you kind of already do as a regular routine that you just kind of tie in another activity. So for instance, would be if you're brushing your teeth, standing there doing air squats while you're brushing your teeth. So now you're getting some physical movement in there. Squatting throughout your day doing anything can really add up. You don't have to feel like doing, people like, oh, well, I won't bother because what's, 2 minutes of exercise. It all matters.
Yeah,
little things add up to big things, and it really will make an impact.
Yeah. And so somebody that's super busy, they say, I don't have time for this. Well, by the time you've brushed your teeth and brushed your hair and put on you can do all kinds of things while you're doing that. So not only can you do the squats, you could practice with your balance, you could listen to something, like you can listen to a podcast, but you're trying to do multiple things that are going to kind of move you forward.
Yeah, that kind of correlate with something you're already doing. So I walk my dogs, for instance, but that's also my audiobook time. That's my time when I listen to some sort of educational material because I'm geeky like that. But that I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And then same with like the brain activities. You could be brushing your teeth, just switch hands. Eat with an opposite hand.
Right.
And
that is like so hard to do. Just try that. But what it's doing is
even washing the dishes with the wrong hand.
It's
hard.
working your brain. It's making your brain think about things, and you're working a different part of your brain. So it really is actually quite useful. And yes, Marianne's asking, if you're walking for 30 minutes, how many HIIT segments would be good? So when you're starting off, if you've never done it, maybe 2, maybe 3. You don't want to do too many, but then as you get better, you're going to do it longer and more frequently.
So within a 30-minute period, you could do 1 minute on, 1 minute off. You could do a 30-second to start off and then have bigger stretches in between.
Yeah.
So if you're doing 3 and then in that 10 minutes and you want to do like a 1 minute on and then a 5 minute off or things like that as you build up. But ultimately within 30 minutes, you can do a tremendous amount. Yeah. So if you're doing 20-second sprints with longer duration of recovery.
So she's talking about walking rather than sprints.
Well, walk sprints.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if it's the amount of time, not so much the intensity is important. But so even if, say, for 10 minutes, right, and you did a 20-second interval with the rest in between, you would get 3 20 seconds within that 10 minutes.
Right.
And then your rest periods would be in between. And it can be different. There's hundreds of different ways within that 30 minutes that you could do it. You could do 30 seconds on for 3. You could do a minute on for 3. Then you could do a minute on and take a longer recovery for 3. And you would get a lot of different variation.
Whatever works for you, play with it. Have fun with it. That's part of what we're kind of suggesting by telling you or suggesting that you do different activities. You want to have fun, right? Yeah. So much of the time, the exercise that we do becomes rote, becomes boring, becomes required. Well, gotta go work out. But I was just at a conference and we were talking about the importance of exercise, and one of the key things is that you like what you're doing.
Yes.
If you
soulmate workout.
Oh yeah, if you are doing an exercise just because you have to, it's not something that you enjoy, the benefit that you glean from that is much, much less than if you're really into that particular exercise. Your heart rate can be the same, the number of minutes you do can be the same, but actually the improvement in your cardiovascular fitness is better when you like it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're looking at the BDNF, the brain-derived neurotrophic factor when you exercise. All of that is minimized if you're doing something you really don't like to do or really don't care about. Like,
yeah, because you're struggling with the stress of it.
Yeah, you're just doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's interesting. Well, not only that, I mean, the fact that if you like it, you're going to be more consistent. So do whatever you're going to do. People will be like, should I work out in the morning? I'm like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
If you, I would say working out in the morning from a benefit standpoint and from a sleep standpoint and all this might be better. But if you're only going to work out at night because that's the only time you can find, that's your time.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I would never say don't do either. You've got to find what you're going to be the most likely to stay with and to participate in.
Right. Yeah. But that can be fun. The other thing that can make your workouts kind of shake it up a little bit, find a partner to do them with, or a new partner, or more partners. So
there's so much group exercise now too.
There's so many. So that it holds you more accountable. You're more likely to go if somebody's waiting on you, or if they're expecting and you don't want to let them down. So you're much more likely to do it. And then there's a lot of evidence too that the benefits of being in the group, again from my weekend conference on chronic pain, stress, anxiety, and addiction. And so the benefits of the group are huge. The benefits of doing things within a group, having a social circle, it far outweighs smoking, exercise, healthy diet, pretty much every other thing we talk about. It gets you more benefit if you're doing it with a group.
Yeah, in other words, if you don't have that community or that support system or that tribe, it's very unhealthy. And there's a lot of things that can a lot of evidence of poor outcomes with health for lack of community. So this is another way you can have it stacked. So you can exercise in a group setting, and now you're getting some of your connectivity in that community and as well.
Yeah, so that's all good. And so now the other thing we wanted to kind of touch on, because summertime is a time when a lot of us travel, is what can you do to kind of keep up these routines or do things that help you keep on whatever diet you've decided that you want to be on. Your food plan is really key, and your exercise. So how can you maintain consistency when you're on planes and hotels, at other people's homes, that kind of thing? It becomes quite challenging.
Yeah. So as with any other travel, there's plenty of preparation and planning you can do. So looking at where you're going ahead of time, knowing the types of restaurants you might be exposed to, going to a Whole Foods or a market when you land and getting some food and bringing it to your refrigerated hotel room, which would again be in preparation, calling the hotel and asking them to make sure that you have a refrigerator.
And they will usually do that. If you say that you've got somebody that needs refrigerated medicine, maybe they're diabetic, maybe it's a child, you can stretch the truth a little bit if you want, but telling them that you need a fridge, and they're generally very accommodating.
Yeah, I rarely had to actually pay for that as an option. So that, and then of course when you're just your regular barbecues and the parties and the travel for trips you're going on, they're extended. They're a little more than what you're used to, but the barbecues and parties it's 4th of July, there's Memorial Day already happened. You're going into it with kind of already anticipation of like the kids are out of school. There's all kinds of stuff. I mean, we have, as a U.S., we are like party city, right? There's always something, right? So making sure that you're prepared and you're planning on those days. So eating something before you go, or volunteering to bring a veggie tray, or making sure when you go there you do have something handy that you could eat that would be healthy and wouldn't make you feel too uncomfortable with the the dialogue with people.
You don't always want to tell your guest or where you're going that you're gluten-free or dairy-free or whatever your dietary limitation is. And so then if you bring your own dish, that makes it so much easier. You've got something already that you can enjoy, and you can show other people how tasty eating that particular way can be. Because a lot of people want to learn about how to do keto or how to do, paleo or how to be a vegetarian or a vegan, I think can be a nice topic of conversation when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is this kind of a dish, and this is how I make it. People love to hear about food. We all want to learn about food and recipes. Yeah,
people dig the recipes.
So it can be a positive. It's not necessarily. It doesn't have to be a negative.
Yeah. We see a lot of people that tend to isolate for that reason. Yeah. So it's a matter of really, and making sure you're taking care of before you go, and then you don't talk about it at all.
Mm-hmm.
if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But also when you're at these places and the barbecues and things like that, the one thing I notice a lot, which is very impactful for me, we're in Florida, so you guys who aren't in the area, you don't get the heat like we do. Maybe you do, but you're not used to it year round. The heat here is like literally from one season to the next can suck the hydration out of you, like if you're like out for 5 minutes. So for me, I immediately feel the difference in my body with hydration just from a change in the temperature. And that's just going out for a walk with my dogs or getting in and out of the car and driving from place to place, and by the time your air kicks in, you're already there because it takes forever.
Sweat can give you a lot of insensible losses, so you can lose a fair amount of fluid through your sweat and electrolytes, and it can give you headaches and make you feel kind of draggy, you have no energy. So really pay attention to staying hydrated.
It can also make you feel hungry.
Yes.
So drinking that water can help stave off some of that hunger.
Yeah.
But making sure that you have not just water, but you have some electrolytes or something with it. Because a lot of times we're drinking, but we're losing a lot more than just water. We're losing our minerals and electrolytes and potassium, sodium, potassium, things like that. So just be mindful of that, because you won't notice it unless you're paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, you have to kind of know that it's going to happen. So, drinking lots of fluids and trying to stay cool, not too cold, because it is good to be outside. It's good to sweat. Actually, that's good part of a detox. You want to sweat it out, right? But you don't want to over sweat and really kind of challenge yourself that way.
Or just replenish. Make sure that you're doing.
Make sure you replenish.
So we talked to Hare about the detox, but we didn't talk about fasting.
Yeah, and before we do that, though, Anne is asking about hot yoga to take as a drink. So something that's an electrolyte mixture for sure. You could do coconut water. There's all kinds of electrolyte mixtures that you can get from your favorite supplement company. But that's kind of a nice addition to kind of get those electrolytes in.
Yeah, I usually do a powder,
Mm-hmm.
and it's mostly sodium, potassium, magnesium.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of really good mixes out there. Definitely, I would avoid the Gatorades and the things that have like the sugar content. So that's our traditional idea around sports drinks and things like that, which I know Anne knows better that. But.
Right, and just to make the point too for people who are thinking like G2 and things that have replaced the sugar with a sugar substitute, also not ideal.
Yeah, we're talking about artificial sugars.
Artificial sugars, sucralose and Splenda and things like that. So try to avoid.
Yeah, those. They're not the acceptable kind.
No, we'd much.
I haven't found a stevia-based electrolyte yet.
No, I haven't either. And I would quite honestly rather have you have sugar than the fake sugars.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of real sugar. And if you're making it yourself, you can put a little bit of sugar in. You're going to use way less than any of these companies who generally have about 16 teaspoons of sugar in most of these sugary drinks.
Yeah.
Your Coke has got 16 teaspoons of sugar in one can of Coke. So if you made even your own lemonade and you're squeezing your lemon and you have to put a fair amount of sugar in there, you're probably going to use 4 teaspoons, maybe at most, which is still a lot, but way better than your Coke. Okay, so something you make and you put sugar to is going to always be better than something that you're buying with sugar in it, and stay away from the artificial sugars. Now, somebody was asking about the saunas. So a hot sauna is great for detox. Do they have any big effect on weight? Only in that they can dehydrate you a little bit, and then you can lose that fluid. Some water weight. But they do help to kind of cleanse your system, so you can get rid of some of the things that might be holding you back, might be participating or creating insulin resistance, that kind of thing. So they can still be good.
Yeah, the detox alone and the detoxing effect can impact and influence the reason why your body might be holding on to fat cells, right? So if you're it's always a good thing. If all these things put together really can create weight loss. And so that's all the things we're talking about are things that are not just for summer, but you know, if you're looking to kind of, yeah, they're definitely things that, and you know, for a quick fix, you know, the detox, the saunas, the things that are going to like really start to like just wake your body up and try to clean it out and help it out a little bit.
And if you really need to lose like 5 or 10 pounds at an upcoming wedding or something like that, one thing that we've really found works is the Prolon's fasting mimicking diet. And they've got a very set up, you eat this on day 1, this on day 2, this on day 3. It's 5 days. And pretty much everybody loses about 5 pounds. Now, if you maintain those healthy patterns, you can go back to eating regularly and you'll usually keep some of the pounds off. But it can go back right on if you go back to eating poorly and not exercising afterwards.
Yeah, the fasting mimicking diet has a lot of cool research. It basically is making your body think it's fasting, but not enough to scare it.
Yeah.
You know, into thinking that it doesn't have what it needs. So it's really interesting how that works, and it does have like really immediate impact from that one short week. And how often do they? And I know that particular company says.
So like it's called Prolon, Prolon, Prolon Fasting Mimicking Diet, and they say at least once a year. Talking with Dr. Houston, he is a big cardiovascular functional doctor, and he said to reap the biggest cardiovascular benefits, he suggests doing it at least 4 times a year.
Okay, so that's not bad, quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly. And, you know, I think he's doing it 6 times a year. I think he does it every second month. He does 5 days of the fasting mimicking every 2 months. And so he's really big in terms of living a long time. He's at Vanderbilt. So he has kind of looked at all the research, and there's going to be more and more of that coming out with that.
Hear a lot more about that.
But
most people at this point might be familiar with intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is more of a 16-hour window where you're going with fasting, and then you're eating within an 8-hour window. The benefit there is the key is at that 14 to 16 hour is when the body really starts to have already moved through glucose, through glycogen stores, and it's now tapping into fat storage. And even tapping your workout onto that, in that little window towards the 15th, 16th hour, puts you in the maximum fat burning.
Yeah, because when you work out and you've just eaten, you're really going to burn the sugar that you've just digested and you're absorbing. But if you haven't eaten for a while, then you're kind of going to tap into your fat stores a lot easier. So that's a big, big benefit. And Tracy mentions here, I've lost 6 pounds in 6 days on a detox.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's well done. So it sounds like you're doing a good one, as long as you don't have a headache and you're not feeling super fatigued. That's kind of the key things you want to avoid.
Lisa, were you asking about the fasting mimicking, the Prolon?
Yeah.
Prolon.
So those are all good things. Now, if anybody has any questions, we're happy to take that. I think we kind of hit on some of the key things we wanted to make sure that we passed on to you guys, because it is the beginning of June, and really officially it's actually summer already. We realized that when we put it in the title, but you have the idea, and everybody's jumping in, right? It's summer, the weather is good, and we want to
time for swimsuits,
look and feel our best. So thank you guys. I'm going to tie it up then, and if you have any questions, feel free to send us a message on Facebook there. We will, as usual, post this in YouTube tomorrow. So if you know of anybody that doesn't follow on Facebook, then they can always access these on YouTube. And please share with friends, family, anybody you care about that you think can benefit. We want to really get the word out and help people live their best lives.
Definitely, guys. Thank you for participating. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. And until next month, I think
first Monday we decided.
That won't be the first Monday because I'm away the first Monday in July. I think it ends up being the second one.
Okay.
But we will send you a message. Just watch out for it. It will be near the beginning of July, either the first or the second Monday.
Tracy's asking real quick of the detox infusion with the detox diet. I love that.
Oh, yes. I love detox.
I want to do a 3-day detox with just the infusions each day, with like one day the aminos, one day the B's.
So when you do the detox infusion, that generally has glutathione and other good things that you're supplying some of the key vitamins. I didn't want to get too much into this, but when you don't eat, you don't detox as well. So that's why it's good to eat a little bit, because you're providing your body with the vitamins and things that they need for what we call phase 2 detoxification, which is something that goes on in your liver, and you don't need to know any more than that. I don't want to scare you off, but when you do the IV infusion with those things, then you're getting a lot of those nutrients, and you're helping your body kind of put things through and cleanse it. Just helping your liver do what it does naturally, but sometimes we just don't give it the best nutrients to do that.
Yes, so definitely yes, Tracy.
Yes, I would. One with glutathione.
Yes.
Okay, awesome, guys. And again, thank you. Have a wonderful June, and we'll see you again in July.
Thanks, guys. Happy summer.
Happy summer.